That, it won't be on there anyways, so it's okay if it is.
Well, we got a quorum.
Hello.
Hi.
We made it.
When are you gone?
Next week.
Next week, okay.
Next week. Thank you. Yeah, the sheriff's office is in the parking lot, so I'm lucky I made it inside.
What now?
There's 2 cop cars out there, 2 sheriff's cars. I don't know what they're doing.
You don't? Aren't you in charge of patrol?
They just got back. I've been in Saratoga. Just drove in.
I brought my own extension cord in case I ran out of power. Like,
I just drove in.
Where the hell the department heads, Megan?
I don't know.
yeah, I came in by the skin of my teeth because I was down watching my daughter's soccer game. I'm like, gotta go. They were getting beat 3-0. So,
This is it for the board tonight.
huh?
What are they playing?
Whalen. Well, they played last night. No, they played last night. Had a great game down in Bath. But by the time the bus gets back, my daughter never closed her Chromebook up till it was after 11 o'clock. She was doing English homework. They go to bed. They get up. They sit all day today. Where's their relax? You know, I mean.
Right.
You know, you don't get to wind down.
It's pretty
So,
close to
well,
back to
you know, you
back.
run
And
between
then-
5 and 7 miles in that game. You can't have back-to-back nights, especially league games. Number 2 league games, Bath and Waco are league games.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying we would have won. We definitely aren't playing as good as we could. Them girls are flat, you know. They're just.
Wonder how they set that schedule up.
I had a guy call today that said someone told him this soccer game was at a village park. and
The
he
the
wanted to know
modified.
which one.
Modified is in
Frontage Road. Modified plays at Frontage Road.
Which is a town park.
It's a town park.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even think about that park. I said the only thing I can
So
think
out
of.
of sight, out of mind.
I said the only thing that I could think of is that you need to park at like Babcock to go behind the school or something. I said, but I can't think of any of our parks. I didn't even think about the town park.
Yeah, Modified plays down at Frontage Road.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, they got a couple fields down there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they're just as bad as the ones that the varsity play on too.
Yeah.
All right, let's go, and let's. One on the far left or the far right?
Would you go check see what Tammy is? Because I know she was downstairs when I came up.
Sure.
At least get one department head here.
Yeah.
They got quite the.
Otherwise, we might as well go home.
Did you get the complaint about her?
Yeah, I got it.
That?
I've been trying to get a hold of the owners and get their version of it.
I had someone stop at my house and gave me their version of it, and they were
Is
like,
that John Reinholz?
Yes.
Yeah, John.
I come around the corner, I was, you
Gotta
know, my
be-
car's wrong.
Gotta be careful there too, because he's just as much a drama queen.
But I can see it happening though.
Oh yeah, I don't disagree with it, but I went down on Monday. I had to come. I was down in Geneseo for the shared services panel thing, and then I came back. So I stopped over in Mount Morris at the store where these people are from, and unfortunately they were closed on Monday. So every night I've been driving by down here to see if they're open, and during the day. Nope. So I don't know what their hours are. They have no sign. They have no hours up. So I don't know. I've been trying to get in there and find out what their side of the story is, their take, and to welcome them to Dansville in a little better format, perhaps. But, you know, like a lot of things that were, extended to Megan, I didn't hear it directly from John, but
Hey, I was coming
he
around.
was, go ahead.
What he said to me was that she walked in and basically was like, who's the owner? Who's the owner? I can shut this place right down because you haven't come and seen me yet. Now, probably he's truthful, but
But not tactful.
there you go. I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's what I heard too.
Hey, Robin's not coming if someone wants to use this chair. Here you go.
Oh, Mike's out of town,
Probably
too.
don't
And Mike's
power.
out of town, and then next week, I don't know who the hell's gonna be here.
I'll be here.
I will not be making it from Colorado.
Man, you got too
It's
many
a long-
excuses.
Long commute.
Well, that's okay. DPW chief's gonna be in Utah. Or I'm not supposed to say that in Mount Loud.
I don't, I guess with
Make sure you,
putting the finishing touches on it there.
Okay.
Now it looks good, huh?
Oh, yeah, it does.
Ah,
You putting
Yeah.
them up
That's your compost. Get hard at work for you down there.
It's not straight, is it?
No, the compost.
No, but I mean,
See in
you
front of
mix
the
it with
dozer?
other stuff?
Oh, yeah,
I
absolutely.
was gonna say,
I don't know how they did up there. They were up mixing, I don't know.
I hate to see it straight, but it'll burn everything up
No,
there.
I don't think it'll be,
Burn the seed.
I don't think it'll be straight up to the water plant.
How many sections you gonna do on Adams Street? I saw there was one this morning. We can ask that when we get to it. Got-
Nice.
Yeah.
Glenn sent you tonight?
Yes, sir. Oh, yeah. Hey, could you get your dump truck first?
What's he
What'd
want
you say
now?
about Adam Street?
I said, how many sections you gonna do on the street, on the sidewalks? You got that one big one you did today.
All the way down to,
Yeah, but how many sections you gonna do it in? I mean, obviously,
we have to work with the people, so to get
Yeah.
them in and out of their houses, like today, we did Henson's, left him a little spot so he could get in and out of his yard. Just, that's.
wait till the sidewalk hardens up a little bit and move
Yeah,
along.
'cause you can't totally block them off, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard on you.
No, I understand.
To park. So, if I had it my way, about 3/4, we could have the whole thing done. Unfortunately, work with the residents.
Well, being now 6:06, you stand, join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please have a seat. My phone is vibrating. Okay. Oh. Pull up my schedule here. Alrighty, a little shy tonight, and just note that trustee Robin, he said he couldn't make it, and trustee Mike is off enjoying himself, I guess, as will be trustee Zay next week. We knew you were going.
Rub it in.
Megan and I just couldn't figure out if it was going to be tonight or not. I said, hopefully he shows up tonight so we can have a quorum.
Just got back, Saratoga. Just made it
What was going on up there?
Supervisors Conference,
Uh-huh.
State Sheriff's Association,
Uh-huh.
3 days, Monday, Tuesday,
Tough
Wednesday.
job, wasn't it?
It was tough. I made it look easy.
Where'd they have it?
Gideon Putnam.
Oh, yeah, out there at the spa.
Yeah, it's kind of cool, kind of scary, it looks like The Shining. Good, go in there, it was something else.
Yeah, nice place. Usually the NICOM has theirs there as well in the spring. Okay, well, moving right along, just some notes here, the heads up for next week. Mr. Bondi, trustee Rittenhouse's neighbor, will be with us to speak, privilege of the floor, about his favorite subject right now, which is sidewalks.
Sidewalks?
There's a retirement ceremony, anybody cares to go over to Cortland for it. It's on October 20th from 5 to 9 at the Cortland Repertory Theater downtown. And that's for Bernie Toma, or you can just drive up to Moon Lake and shake his hand up there. There's also another Restore New York Communities Initiative, like we did for the depot, and also the castle for that matter. They're going to be having some seminars later this month on the 25th, 26th, and 29th, depending where you want to go. Anybody want to go downstate to Hofstra or to Monroe Community College is probably the closest one for us, another in Schenectady, or you can just do the September 25th webinar. But I don't know, this requires somebody from the public more than us, I guess. So if you know if anybody's got a building they want torn down, or, you know, as long as they got some idea what they want to put in its place, or they want to rehab a place like the depot, this program's available now. And let's see, it's the 5th round, by the way. Anybody's interested, they can see me and I'll give them information, contact. Just so I know the names have already had to be submitted, but the Village Boards Association dinner is next Wednesday at the Genesee Country Museum there in Mumford. Caledonia's hosting. Last week, Megan and I met with Brown and Brown at we had a tough time over having lunch at the Gaslight. Got our preliminary heads up on insurance for next year.
How big's the rate hike next year?
Well, they aren't settled on the numbers. What was it? Around 11, 12%, wasn't it? 14? Yeah, it's up there. Now,
Yeah, you gotta
they
figure
they think there'll be
10%.
some adjustments downward.
Yeah, you're 10%. I mean, when we were like 280,000, that's another 30,000 that they're pushing at 11, 12%.
Yeah.
For huge increases.
Yeah. If there's, anybody wants, I can make copies of the presentation we got. It's,
No, they'll send us a bill.
It's gonna be what it's gonna be.
Yeah, well, that's just it. It's one of those, thank you very much.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they don't control, it's controlled by
No.
the contract,
Yeah.
really. Okay, and I just got a email this evening. Anybody here have Kaspersky on their computers?
What is it?
Kaspersky?
Never heard of it.
Well, it's a major malware antivirus program in this country right now. I've had it on my previous computers. They strongly recommended you discontinue it because Kaspersky is a Russian company. And they have
Did you
connections with the Kremlin. And Russian law doesn't, Russian law allows the government to go in and use their information. So, not that I'm anticipating being hacked by the
That's why
Russian government, but nevertheless, that's what we got.
So I've always purchased the Apple for
Yeah.
the house because it's all compartmentalized
Mhm.
and there's no malware and all the spywares. You don't have to do all that through Apple.
No.
So I've had our laptop at the house now for 12 years. Never had an issue with it. Just do the regular updates and they're a little more expensive, but you don't have to put all that stuff on it. So I don't have some guy named Ivan calling me and Drago.
Okay, moving along now to department head committee reports, legislative. You're on, Megan. What you got? Anything for us?
Is there anything that you would like me to mention?
Well, we had Brian in today. Anything come out of his going over the books and everything?
The monthly reports are uploaded. We will definitely have budget modifications for next week's meeting. So I'll get those uploaded as well. The AUD was submitted a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. That's probably pretty much it.
We did, we have our, I don't know if you wanted to mention this, the housing rehab grant that we're currently working through the application process for the rental rehabilitation is due next week. So we've been working at that. Today, I met with some folks and we went around and took some photos of different apartment buildings that are in need, so we can submit that with our application. So we feel like that's going well.
Okay. And let's see. Let's skip that for a moment. Then the reserve funds. I already talked about the restored New York State grant. Just an update on Depot. Doug Gakum's been in touch with me because he's been over that way. You've noticed they're moving right along with it. I don't know if they're going to make their October deadline or not. The state contacted me a couple weeks back. That was the 30th of August. And indicated that they're looking at the Economic Development Agency's board has to review all of the applications one more time and give them the actual final approval. And they're hoping to do it in October. They asked me how far along they were, and I says, well, the last briefing I had from Doug Akum was that they have planned on a soft opening in October. So, and that's when I like to hear those, do the final anyway on the applications towards the end of the project. So we'll see how they're doing on that. Doug was a little concerned today about some stuff, but he had heard from the county about whether or not SHPO had signed off on the project, done a final sign off on that. So I got to check that out yet. But that's where it stands right now. And they seem to be moving right along, doing the board and batting work on it, and got the windows in, because I don't know what's on the inside, that's probably the more important stuff.
The outside usually goes quick, it's the inside that's, takes a while.
The rear tanks are there, that's all that matters, right?
If they're full.
Yes, what he's told us, it's gonna take at least a month for him to produce anything, so.
Guess October is the closest
And
we're getting.
and last I heard is the tanks were sitting over at, well, it's Fitzpatrick's there in Arkport.
They, actually, because we helped them unload them, because we gotta come up with, what do we come up, 20 grand?
20%.
In-kind services?
20%, I think it is, yeah. 15.
For what?
We have to come up with 20% or whatever it is.
Well, that should be all the work around the place and everything, and the storm sewers.
Whatever we come up with, I'm just gonna do everything we can to keep track of it, and hopefully I can get to that number.
Mhm. Make sure you count labor, everything. Gotta do something extra, just get the numbers up there.
For the state's prevailing wage, right?
Yep. Well,
Yeah, no.
Megan will have to figure out the wages. I don't think we can charge for billing wage.
See, water, sewers, that all, that hasn't been connected yet, has it?
No.
Yeah.
Now that they bought that other property, instead of going to Franklin, now we're gonna go with Spruce.
Okay.
So,
Have they actually bought it now, across the street?
they're working on it, I know.
They were looking at buying those properties across.
That's what I
some of
heard.
them, yeah.
I heard that. They're, everything except for, well, the old little place that used to be the cable company. But I didn't think they were buying the red place, were they?
No, they didn't get, but they own both sides of the property. Redwood doesn't really have any property with it.
Yeah, Cooney, the old Cooney Cable or
Bradley,
Yeah,
whatever.
Dick
Brad,
Hayes is
whatever it
very
was,
close to
Warner,
buying
Time
that,
Warner.
so
and that vacant lot next to it, I guess, is, what's that house? Those are all still owned by somebody else. Okay. At our last meeting, we had held off on doing anything as far as the jailable offense issue went, because there was some questions about the documentation we had in our hands. Didn't say anything about outside stuff. The reason why we didn't have that, and I wish I had known ahead of time, the code is about 5 volumes thick, and this is one chapter, I think, out of the first volume they have, or maybe it's the third one, I'm not sure. Anyway, it talks about exterior property areas here, and just the sanitation says, exterior property and premises shall be maintained in a clean, safe, and sanitary condition. The occupant shall keep that part of the exterior property that such occupant occupies or controls in a clean and sanitary condition. It goes into grading, goes into sidewalks, goes into weeds, quite a bit on weeds. Rodent harborage, exhaust vents, accessory structures, motor vehicles, defacement of property, all that kind of stuff. And then the next chapter or section actually is on swimming pools, spas, and hot tubs. So if you want, I can get that to you between now and next week. You take a look at it, see what it is, and that's what we're talking about in that section. So we'll research there. Actually, Tammy got it for me. She brought in her 5 volumes, and I said, I don't need all of that.
Just what pertains.
Yeah, just the facts, ma'am, just the facts.
Certainly, no Friday. Just the facts.
So, public safety. Where's Tammy?
I did not see her down there.
Was she in the back?
I walked in and I looked, I
Oh.
didn't see her. There were a lot of people in there, but
Okay, well, thank you.
Yep.
You got a report. So the only thing I had for her was the apartment house there that Mr. Hober owns at the corner of Sophia and Seward, what the status is on that. The other one is the status of the Allen Street property. You've been able to find Mr. Griffith?
Got tickets all written.
I'm telling you, the skunks are unbelievable down there.
They're all over.
Well, I know, but there's a big patch of them coming out of that property that's out there behind on Allen
Well,
Street.
that would be rodent harborage.
Just stopped and talked to Carl Hindle just once. My dog wrestled with one once. That was great. Special evening I'll never forget.
Recently?
Yeah, like 2 weeks ago, and I know another guy who works over at in the jail is coming around the corner, and he said that the tail, he says, was Because you thought it was Pepe Le Pew. When you came across, he's like, that tail was that far up off the ground. He's like, it was huge. I'm like, yeah, I know, there's another one. And from what Robin says and Carl says, that field out back is just packed full of it, where they're all digging in and
Yeah.
Yeah, tickets all written. Just better putting our hands on them.
Well. Okay, I guess that's all it for CEO. Anybody got any particular questions they want forwarded to her? So we got a report.
And it was all the right way too. I didn't have to read it sideways. Moving right along.
Fire department.
Yes. All right.
Everybody should have the report in the
Yeah.
in the
Glenn,
book.
Glenn was nice enough to highlight everything for me. I'm Chad, I'm the second assistant chief. He threw me in this because nobody else is available. I'm sorry if I'm new at this. For August, we had 23 calls, 3 fires, 9 rescue with emergency services, 5 false alarms, good intent calls. Our average response time right now is about 5 minutes in the village. You know, truck committee wise, we're working on the committee for 516. Greg Horse in charge of it, and he plans on bringing stuff to you guys in October. As far as calls, it's been quiet. We kind of like it that way.
Anything on the grant?
No report yet on the grant. Still no change on that for the truck. Plans for fire prevention in October. Supplies have already been ordered and received. We have a meeting with the school on the 2nd, and everything looks to be going good for that.
Glenn was talking about having it uptown this time.
Yes,
What date? That's a Saturday?
Yes, sir.
And what was the date on that?
I think it would be the 2nd of
Second?
October.
Okay.
It'd be the end of fire prevention,
Okay.
because basically we have it, you know, up till now, we've had it at the firehouse and stuff like that, and it seems to be a place for people to come and drop their kids off, get a free meal, and then disappear, and it's becoming a hindrance on the department. So if we can get them away from the department and actually have them something for them to do, and let them know that they are responsible for the welfare of their children, they won't just drop them off to us.
Still gonna have the hot dogs?
No, popcorn in a movie.
So when's fire prevention starts on October 2nd?
It ends the weekend of, we're doing it at the end of fire prevention.
Because
It's the end of September, and we're gonna have it on October 2nd.
that's a Monday. October 2nd is a
Yeah.
Monday.
Well, the meeting with the school, for his notes, is October 2nd, so I'm thinking probably that following Saturday,
Okay.
That would be the 7th, yeah.
So-
7th. Sorry, it's not.
Yeah, it's the 8th through the 14th,
Mhm.
Fire Prevention Week. So I guess that would be the Saturday starting it up then.
Yeah.
Okay. All righty. And should pull that
We
out
got
soon.
a thing going on with the Star Theater. They're gonna play Plains Fire Rescue for the kids. There's gonna be a small presentation, free bag of popcorn with the movie and stuff like that. Then we have stuff for the adults to do while the kids are in there.
It's a pretty good idea.
Just something different.
Good. Good for the theater, good for fire prevention, good for the kids.
I'd love to bring back Oktoberfest, but this isn't the meeting for that.
I think I said that about 2 or 3 weeks ago. I said it was an Oktoberfest again.
Yeah.
The way the boot drive is going, I'd rather do an Oktoberfest than the boot drive, because we had like I mentioned to the department, we handed out 52 sets of turnout gear, and I get the same 12 guys every year for the boot drive. Working, 4 or 5 hours standing out there on the road, we're not making the money like we used to make.
Yeah.
I kind of hinted around, I'd like to bring back the Oktoberfest, and I got a bunch of dirty looks.
I
So.
bet you
There wasn't
did.
a lot of money in that either.
No,
By the time it was all said and done. That's why it's no longer there.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions for DFD? Any question? Okay. You can stay or you can go.
I got a department meeting to go to, I appreciate your time.
That's what Glenn always says.
I know.
Yeah.
That's their out.
Well, no, if Glenn and Woody can't make it here, they ain't gonna make it over there. Thank you very much. for your
Yep, thank
time.
you.
See you later.
Okay, ambulance, I haven't heard anything from them. Well, one thing on the fire, I did talk with Glenn today about getting the numbers for the rental, but what we charge the towns around us, like Washington and North Dansville. Both towns are doing their budgets right now. So he didn't think there was a change, but he's gonna get back to me in the next day or so.
Meeting downstairs just finished.
Yeah, why were you there?
Huh?
The meeting up here takes precedence.
I didn't want to walk out right while she was wrapping up. People were like screaming at her.
Nice.
They mob her?
Roger Sutton right now has her cornered to a table.
Do I need to send the chief down there?
You might want to walk down like 3 minutes and make sure that Roger is back
He was
off.
a little heated earlier.
Yeah.
He kept raising his voice, and she asked him to quiet down.
Yeah, Roger got worse as it progressed. He's literally, yeah.
Another person that makes business decisions based on emotion and not facts.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, please, thank you.
If you would, please. Now, she's a tiny thing.
Yeah, she's your
Problem
size.
is
and
people
Roger
don't realize
Sutton's
it doesn't
face.
change what's going on. Intimidation and
No.
yelling does not change what's going on. Sometimes you try to force it into somebody to listen.
No, it
It
doesn't
doesn't
work.
work. Yeah. Status quo.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's see, then we'll move, I'd say move along to the police chief, but he just left. Tammy, what have you got besides your report?
On a positive note, the meeting that just ended downstairs, she has rescheduled a second one of those public meetings for 2 weeks from tonight at 5 o'clock. And hopefully, she said she might have some proposed new designs, implementing all the things that they said they wanted around
Yeah.
there, to show them in 2 weeks and ask them if they have any other ideas. So that's scheduled for 2 weeks from now. So that's a positive.
Yeah, there are some changes coming up that should make it a little more palatable, at least for some of them.
Yeah, they're trying to add everything they want. That one lady even
Well, we don't
said-
want to get into details, though.
Well, one lady just down there just tonight said, can we tell you what color fence we want? And she said, absolutely. And they said, okay, we're good with another meeting. So, you know, they're working real hard, real hard.
I talked with lawyers this past week. I talked with the engineer of their John Schlager today, and so it just seems like the county's trying to get into a lot of it, although I noticed they didn't have anybody downstairs.
Yeah.
I mean, they're trying to be helpful, but that just seems they need to coordinate it with somebody rather than just, I don't know, everybody's going every which direction.
Yeah.
But I think the plan now that they've got is more palatable. Roger might not think so, but
Roger, yeah, won't think so, but any one of us, trust me, if you saw it, we'd have it across the street from your house, you
it'll
know.
make the place look a lot better down there, that's for sure.
so-
Actually might improve the neighborhood.
Maybe that's what they don't want. Taxes go up.
No, I was just saying, you know, they got good plans, it'll be done right, I'm sure, so, you know, that's gotta be a plus, not a negative.
The biggest problem with something new is if you start looking at long-term, because I remember back when they put in the apartment buildings up on Upper William Street.
Yeah.
They looked great for about 5 years. And then the decline started and hasn't stopped. You know,
Oh, you don't think they look good right now?
They've
It was
gotten
good.
better.
better.
They're better managed now,
But
but they're still apart.
For being T111 apartment buildings, they look as good as absolutely possible, and I gotta tell you,
would you live across from those?
I have and I do, and yes.
Well, you live
I
on a
live
side
on
street.
Siler Street.
Well, I know you get, but you don't look at them directly.
I see them right out my front door, and yes, I would live right next door to them on William Street, because I also inspect the insides of them. They are the nicest apartments before a tenant moves in, every single one of any apartment in all of Dansville. You won't get nicer. They always have new flooring, new carpeting, fresh paint, clean appliances
We're getting
that
off
are
track here a little bit, folks.
are clean and everything. So really, those
My
aren't
point
bad.
was
Yeah, I
they
know.
build something to a standard, but how does the standard hold up over time? Because you know across the street it's gonna look nice because they'll mow it and it's an open field.
Mhm.
But it would be nice to see that used down there a little bit, you know.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
The crowd's gone, so there's nobody to showboat in front of either.
That's a lot of it right there.
Yep.
Other than my report, I didn't get the page for fire inspections, so I'm just letting you know what was on it, and that is 148 Main Street, right, the old Sugar Bowl a long time ago, right next to the movie theater. Either Friday or Monday, a new restaurant will be opening there called the Dog House. They have one more criteria to make the Livingston County Health Department happy, and then they've got to go. She specializes in hot dogs. Specializes in hot dogs. The Dog House.
You know, it's funny you say that because I was down in Ithaca, or Elmira, and they have like a ton of hot dog places, and I couldn't believe how many there was. There was like 6 or 7 of them. I was like,
Some places, hot dogs are
Yeah.
big. New York City's
Maybe
one.
there's a corner of the market that we just don't know about.
So that's gonna open in the next couple days. Done a lot of work in there to get it good. It's a Howard Burroughs building, but the tenant has really worked hard in the unit. And also, on the other side of the tattoo parlor, or other side of Hammerheads in the tattoo parlor, right there where the old meat market used to be,
Smith
Clockworks was. That's what most people would know today.
Smith's,
Oh,
Smith's Market, for all I know,
remember it as
Schmitty's.
Smith's Market, so, that just opened last week. It's a arts and crafts jewelry store, Tish's Treasures. So all this is on the fire inspection. They have to have a passing fire inspection to open, and sorry, I didn't get that page to you. So those two are new businesses on Main Street, yay. Oh, in the antique store too. And the old Reinhold's, there's an antique store there now that's open on Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, only utilizing the first floor of the building. That's the 3 things you guys didn't see. So, 3 new businesses on Main Street. Yay. The month before, the Adam Lowry opened the Jiu-Jitsu Strike Back Martial Arts. That's way cool. He has an awesome kids group there. My son does. And I think that's the only thing that didn't hit the report.
Any questions for Tammy?
Anything else new going in, like building wise or anything at all? Any updates on anything new on down at the market?
Down at the market.
Well, we knew they were starting the process pretty good, but then they kind of tailed off when the weather.
Tracy Abbott's place.
Oh, I'm sorry. We got him still mowing. Trying to keep paths mowed. And he's been super with, if Charlie stops and says keep mowing, he's been mowing. And now we've
Sorry, Jim,
been
that's,
working on other things.
on lining up his merchandise so it's more
Palatable.
manageable, yeah, and kind of softly, not my business to tell him how to run his business, but, kind of suggested maybe he's in a position where rather than set on trees that he's had for 3 and 4 seasons that are taking root, he might want to consider maybe some sort of sale. Sure enough, 4 days later, it wasn't
had
the
a
sale
sale.
that really wasn't going to accomplish the goal, but at least get a sign up offering 2 for 1 or something, I don't know what it was. So, and then he did whack away at the bushes over at 37 Elizabeth Street, did whack those down so you can see on the porch. I mean, I
Because
prefer to
he
put
owns
on the
that
ground,
too.
but, he knocked them down so you can actually see across the top.
But that goes back to single family dwelling,
It
right?
is, yes it is.
So,
It's empty. We're just trying to keep getting to remember, hey, you went ahead and bought that too. You need to maintain that property too, mow the lawn, cut the shrubs.
he whines to me about the property next door, the fact that the growth was right out to the street. Coincidentally, Scott knocked that back and took the wind out of his fire on that, the wind out of his sail on that argument. Not that he had a legitimate argument, but that was what he always liked to try to change the topic on. And so that's been taken out of his response mode. So it's better, he's mowing all around the entire building, and I think, did it look like he put some weed killer down there someplace?
It looked like,
That's what it looked like.
it's because the weeds are,
Yeah, something's dying there, so it
Yeah.
looks like he put some weed killer
The
down there.
plants he's trying to sell.
Yeah, something, so, so there's been an effort, not quite to the degree we hoped. I thought when the for sale sign went on it, they would change drastically quickly, but I assumed somebody would buy it. It looks like we're gonna have to go down and have another heart-to-heart with him and Tia about how to ratchet it up a little faster. Take advantage of the
Winter's
fall
quickly
weather.
approaching again.
Yeah, that's how I'm hoping to take advantage of the fall weather and make some drastic changes down
it's
there.
fall, you can clean up really easy now, and before anything's frozen is what we're going to try to do.
Some other locations have kind of gotten in the way of.
Sort of segue in right into what the chief has to say. What's your report tonight?
I'd like to tell you there's something great and new, but there isn't anything great and new because the regurgitation of the old is taking up everybody's time. As busy as I've always said, it's, no lack of business. If you see the report, the arrest persons are way up, charges are way up. I think B&T is up by 50%. I think penal law is up by 100, or misdemeanors up by 100, something's up by 100. So people arrested, I think, are close to being up by 50% as well. So everybody's moving, everybody's active.
How many of those you figure, rough percentage, have something to do with drugs?
There's a lot of drug activity. Shoplifting has definitely increased here in the last couple of years. There's just and now you've had experience today going through the buildings in town. There's a lot of families that live
On the edge.
pretty on the edge. Yeah, it's a difficult environment. There's a lot of drug activity, but the guys are doing a great job. I was actually hoping to be able to, before the end of the year, there was a time when I used to, I had a chart of all the people we arrested, not of people, but how many counts of sale and possession, things that we did year by year by year, and you can see it, climbing. Twofold. One, because of the training we put the guys through downstairs is paid off, and the activities there to be dealt with. So I'm hoping to update that, kind of got put on the back
Good news
burner.
and bad news.
Yep, we got put on the back burner for other things, and now, try to put that in to have that updated by the end of the year, just to see how it is going, because, I know I'm going through the property room here, updating the books in there, there's a lot of drugs that we're destroying, so a lot of activity there. Oh, what else? First Friday, not that it's a big deal, but the first Friday of October is the Main Street. I'll get you a note, they want to close off Main Street from 5 to 7 from Prime to Ocean. And they're trying to aim for a little bit of an October, I don't know if I want to say, I think they told me to say Oktoberfest theory that they want to run.
Yeah, I think usually there it's going to have hot dogs or sausage or something like that down there, so I don't know.
So we'll get the barricades again like always.
As long as there's any open beer containers, because they need to get a permit for that. Well, we can okay it, having open containers. Somebody's going to have to sell it. I don't think there are any bars down there. Unless they have it in the Sunrise.
I was going to say Sunrise has a liquor license.
Do they? Yeah.
I still don't think it can be outdoors, all right?
I don't know.
Well, you can have it on Main Street if the board authorizes it.
Which, for those kind of functions, it's a nice
Yeah.
draw. It's a nice draw.
As long as they keep it around the place where they're buying it, not taking it all over the...
More and more communities are doing it. Trying to draw the folks down to the festivities. If there's anything that's really outstanding or really interesting. day-to-day business. Just plenty.
Okay. Any questions for the chief? No? Budget, finance, and audit, trustee Rittenhouse.
Nothing to report at this point.
Okay, the only thing I have is I went through the court records a week or so ago. Can't remember now. Seems like yesterday, but I think it's longer than that now. But, no major hiccups. Got a few questions I got to ask Sheila, but other than that,
I did put out an email asking if anyone had any, last year how trustee Labar had went over the percentages and if anyone had a interest in that. The only one I heard back from was Scott and basically said that, he keeps a pretty close eye on his budget. I know that we ask about overtime, everything else is usually running pretty in depth. Does anyone have anything they want to say about that? About how they want to track budget? I mean, I know last year, a lot of times we'd see things and we'd see the same things month in and month out with like EAP. Well, that's a one-time-a-year payment, so there's no sense of me showing you that it's down to 2% in its budget line because it's been paid for the year, I mean, does anyone have any ideas what they would like to see, or do they just want to kind of play it out and see how things go? And I'll just kind of work with Megan as the year goes on, and everyone's
I'll ponder it more on top of my head, but like I said, those types of things are just your annual things that get paid.
we get paid, and I mean, overtime we watch and see, and some of this is even the traffic stuff, and overtime might go up a little bit even now because you're going to be working on the DWI money, but I don't know. I threw it out there in an email, and
When did you throw out the email? I never got one from you.
I don't remember seeing it either.
threw it out there. Everyone's got. I've been the only one to see it. 'Cause-
No, I got it, I
I
saw
saw
it.
it.
Yeah, just was wondering if there was anything that anyone was interested.
We didn't get it on this floor.
First floor got it. I threw it out to a recall to something that I thought you guys were on there, but basically last year, we used to get those sheets that
Yeah.
said percentages left.
And he'd
And
say,
and-
look at this and that, which
I would
was
rather just
nice,
go
but you were
through
right, some
after-
of them are,
Yeah, they're yearly pays. I mean, like insurances, I talk about that, but once the bill's paid for the year, then. So I mean, I just was wondering if there was anything anyone was interested in seeing or a format, and if they're not, then we'll just kind of watch it and see how things go, and
Okay.
so I threw it out there one, but again, and Scott said, he pays close attention to his and knows what he's got and where he's at.
Probably would be helpful, maybe January-ish to put our heads together and
Well, and that's what I
Yeah,
thought,
middle
was
of the
there's
year.
no sense of talking about it right off the bat, because I figured by mid-year is when you really ought to sit back and look and see, okay, hey,
It's getting down towards the end.
Yeah.
Make sure you have enough to get through.
okay, just so you guys know, I mean,
if we find out in January we screwed it up, and the next year we should aim for breaking it up into thirds and doing it sooner.
Something like that.
We haven't screwed it up yet,
Take it October, January, April or something.
I don't think we'll screw it up. I got confidence. You guys been around long enough, so you guys kind of got the gist down.
Yeah. We're doing okay.
If not, Scott's got it in his, he always says, I got that.
Easily.
Easily.
I get money for that t-shirt that says that.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay. Public Works, Water and Sewer, trustee Humphrey is not here. You know where we stand on the water and sewer laws. I've been conversing, or I should say emailing with Robin, but I haven't heard any more.
I haven't heard a date at
Other than he
all.
was gonna get something set up.
No,
How about the rates review? Has anybody contacted Paul Bringawat?
I called Paul and he said get a hold of him in October.
October?
He would give us a proposal. He said it would be very reasonable this time because he got all the information before he just got updated.
Yep. Okay.
He said as
And,
long as he had Megan in the office, he was good, and Karen, he could get it pretty quick.
okay.
So they're still here.
Today we had the USDA go through our water plant and a whole bunch of stuff there. I think everybody got to submit a piece of paper on their thoughts and stuff.
That was pretty
Did
soon.
we get any feedback from them at all?
I guess it went well. I went up there just to meet her and hand over the surveys that I received back. And she was super, the boys said she was in and out, she said she didn't even need to tour the whole plant. Just asked him some questions, and she did forget that we needed to do the fire truck again. So I'm just gonna get with Glenn to get a photo of that, and they can have a phone conversation. And we'll hear back if there's any concerns.
Okay. And that's pretty much all I've got for water and sewer. Streets. That's trustee Zay.
I got nothing.
What do you got? I know you're working on Adams Street.
Okay, on Adams Street. I talked to Pete a little bit. We have an issue on Adams Street with getting the poles moved back. By Doc Stafford's house. The line runs by his house right now and it's really close. There's not enough room to move the pole over. So what I came up with, and a lot of conversations with NISAC, would be to relocate the service to 1 Adams, which is the apartment house on the corner, and bring that off of Main overhead. You know, we have to foot the bill, is the problem. And then the other issue is Eddie Jackson, is it Jackson? Eddie Jackson? Eddie Dugo,
Yeah.
Eddie Jackson.
Same
We would
thing.
have to run his service from the pole that's basically west of his property. You know, he wants to upgrade the service inside, which is good, so he'll pay for all that, we just gotta do the outside. So, you're probably looking total cost right around $2,500 per pole from them to do that.
Total.
Pardon?
25 each or 25 total?
Total,
Okay.
you know, give or take a little bit, it's hard right now, I had to see the 2 different electricians, I haven't got the second pole back, but talking with the first guy, that's 3 services over there. And he'll do all the labor and everything for $800, you know, and we'll purchase the materials that way. You don't have to get into all that.
Yep.
Bidding and all that. But, you know, I don't think we really have a whole lot of choice. We really need to get the poles moved back so we can move forward with the project. So, I don't know how you guys feel about it. And we also have to move the frontier, but that's not a big deal. It's just basically putting a piece of conduit in for them guys when we take the sidewalk out. So that's not a big deal. I haven't heard back from them yet. Hopefully there's not going to be any cost. He said that if the village worked with him and did part of the excavation things, he thought he could get it through. So hopefully that'll work out. So, what do you guys have any questions on that, or how do you feel?
Is there any spot in the budget to pull that money out of?
We're gonna have to find a spot. Yeah, I don't think I can use my CHIPS money on that, so.
They'll be there 10 years. True.
No, I can find.
You gotta do what you gotta do to it now. I mean, once you start the project, that's gotta get done over there because that street has been torn up, at least the lower section since last year. And,
Yeah, oh yeah, it's definitely gonna get
I
paid.
mean, whatever you gotta do in my estimation to get that done because
Do you guys wanna approve that tonight so that I can, cause the one on the corner they could start on that and get that done, or do you wanna wait and do it?
motion to
Well,
move forward with it, I mean.
I guess Tuesday wouldn't be an issue. I mean, I can find out from Megan and then pull the trigger on Tuesday.
Huh?
I'll do the mid-second then.
I mean, we can act here. So we move forward with it, so that they can start doing whatever they gotta do and line it up and get whatever done they gotta get done.
I've got a motion from trustee Rittenhouse, second.
I'll second it.
Trustee Zay, discussion.
It's minimal. It's nice having just a couple of us, huh?
Trustee Rittenhouse.
Aye.
Trustee Zay.
Aye.
And I'll make it unanimous.
Move forward. and-
We had to have 3 votes anyway. I had to vote this one. Okay, what else you got, Scott? Is that it?
I wish.
He's got stacks of paper over here, I see.
Kyle.
I do have a question, and it's
Yes,
got
sir.
nothing to do with Adams Street. Easement for Matthews.
It's in our orders.
It's our lawyers now,
Yep.
okay.
So we're just waiting for John.
All right.
Finally. At least that's what I was told. I did not talk to John, but they said it was in his
Confirm that,
possession.
confirm that tomorrow.
Um,
Otherwise,
See if we
we
can
may
get it
want
up
to
here.
block that off, get their attention.
No, I think it's, Aaron called, said it was there.
Yeah,
so I'm
okay.
sure.
Take them long enough.
Yeah. The hospital is thinking about repaving their entryway to have a meeting with Chris Ramsey, and
What are we gonna do with the millings? That's what you're calling for?
that's, what's that?
Is that what you're calling for? See, we want the millings?
No, no.
Oh, darn.
Well, what they want to do is, they'd like to piggyback. We had our bid for the asphalt the other day, I had one bid from Hanson, and it was a very reasonable bid, so we're good there. They want to use that same, basically, price, if you will. So they're meeting with Chris. What they want to do is try to basically use our mill, not use, they'll pay for it, but why we had the mill here, get it at the same time. And then the millings themselves, they want to save a few, but I think they would like us to take the millings, we would have to truck them away. I would be all over that if you guys go through with that.
As long as we
just-
can use them.
Oh, absolutely.
Do we have a lot of millings somewhere?
Not a lot. We will have quite a bit here when, but I use the daylight side. I mean, we use them all the time. Every time we dig a hole, we put them in. Like we patch, we dug up and put some valves in, we put millings in, it's almost like blacktop. Like the other day, we just went back and milled off a couple inches and then put blacktop on top. They work great. But that was I saved the state millings that we got off the hill. They work the best. The millings from our streets aren't the greatest, but they work for fill, really good. So, but again, that's private property, but basically we're just picking up the product, and taking it away. That's all we
Yeah,
have to do.
that's not an issue. My only concern is the price. Are they gonna get the same price? I mean, we're not violating, we're not giving them any kind of, this was an open bid on that price, right?
Well, what they do is nothing to do with us.
No, but I'm just saying, I don't want it to look like they're getting it, I don't want it to look like they're using our coattails here to get a special bid price, like, county bid or something.
They might even be able to get it cheaper the way they're gonna do it.
Well, that's fine.
Ours is in place, and I don't think they're gonna do it that way. I think Chris is gonna
I'm
donate.
I'm talking about the asphalt.
No, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Like I say, with our bid, it's in place, so we pay $60 a ton, that's it. We don't pay the guy to lay it, the guy to truck it, it's
Mhm.
one price, that's it. I think Chris is gonna donate his services to do that, so they'll be buying it cheaper than that. They'll be paying $40 a ton or whatever, and then they'll have to truck it, pay the truck, so it won't, it's nothing really to do with us.
Okay.
It's just the price that we have now, Hanson said that he would honor that for those guys if they wanted to do it.
Okay, well, that's what I wanted to
They
know.
can budget it,
Yeah,
now
as
they
long
have
as
a
it's-
budget number to work with.
As long as it's a separate deal,
Oh,
not
nothing to do with
connected
us,
with us.
period, no, that's all private, that's whatever they want to do.
Okay.
So, and then the next, we talked about this before, Matthews keeps saying that they're gonna have us strip that. I think you guys, we talked about that, Matthews buses on that new property. It's kind of the same deal where we just go down and strip it and take the topsoil. But we'll talk about that as it moves forward. And then the other one, I talked to you a little bit, Pete, the Mistrettas at Oaks Hole want to put some roads in. And, they would have to hire somebody to come in and remove the soil. So we can have the soil, we just gotta take it out. With the big excavator we got, we just basically go up, scoop it up with a truck, take it, dump, pile it up. So I don't know if anybody would have a problem with that. It's really, we just bought some off the farm in Wayland, paid for it, but we don't have to pay for this, and it's right up the street. So
I don't have any issue with it.
I don't see there's a problem.
I don't know if it'll happen.
It's basically being gifted to us.
Right, we just gotta.
We just gotta take it out of the spot. I don't see this, it'd be no different going to a quarry and, picking up gravel or anything like that.
There's no charge, that's the nice part. Well, like I say, I don't know if it'll happen, but if it does,
If it does, like I say, it's a gift. We can do that. We might have to, at that time, memorialize it, get a vote on it and put it in the minutes so that there's no question in the future. I know in the past we've just done it, but going forward, I
well,
think.
we should probably put that for Tuesday nights, all of them, through the
Let's do
hospital.
that.
That way, all of a sudden it pops up and we don't have a meeting and,
Yeah.
then you're trying to,
Do that.
just to have it all approved and everybody's on the same page.
That looks all on the up and up.
Yep. Don't give anybody any ammunition to make life miserable around here anymore than it already is.
And then last but not least,
I'm saving this one.
Well, he wants to buy something, right?
It's in paper.
we've talked about most of these items, I just haven't.
Most of these items.
Yeah.
Okay, the first one, first page, that's a brush attachment that goes on the excavator to cut the side of the roads and creek banks.
Certain banks and stuff.
Things like
so
that, yeah. So there's 3 bids there, and actually Milton Cat was the cheapest. I was kind of surprised. Went to Oliver's and then another guy over in, the Ford tractor place over in Arcade. So there's 3 of them there. The lowest one is $68.50. So, I don't know if there's any discussion, but that could just be put on for Tuesday night.
Okay.
The way the other board members do. Megan, you just put this in the package? Or just leave it
Maybe I
here?
should-
Put it in the package?
Yep, you can put it in there.
Any questions on that?
It's all budgeted, right?
Well, yeah, I have line
So the
items for that.
equipment line item.
And I'll divide it up somewhat between the 3, but mostly it's highway.
How long does it take to get that in?
2 weeks, I think it's set on,
How long?
lead time is about 2 weeks.
Guys did a lot of work down there on that creek down there alongside Clay Street.
That
and
needs to be whacked.
Before it gets too, where you know, something like that wouldn't work again. You know?
But I mean, if we get it Tuesday night's fine, I mean, I don't think we really need to worry about that.
No, I'm just wanting to get it done this year.
Oh, right. Oh, I do too. I'll reach down in there. Actually, I was talking to Jim McGuire the other day, and he wants to get one for his big excavator. They're a whole lot more money for that one. There's one in there for Joe Johnson. That's a push camera. Talked about this quite a few times. This is on NJPA bid or state, but I can't remember. Maybe he's got it on here. It's on one of the
NJPA.
Yeah, there, yeah, NJPA. So basically, this is a push camera. I mean, it's not your, it's not one that's on tractor wheels that drives through. This is like they used over the other day for you, Megan, when we had the issue. 90% of the time, this is what I get Joe Longini for, and his is getting so bad you can hardly see what's on his screen. We had an old one, which is old, and you can't get parts for it anymore. It's got 200 foot of cable, so it'll do a lot of our work that we need to do, like for all kinds of things, storm sewers and you name it. So I'll throw that one out there.
Is that something where you gotta get a certain number of bids?
No, because I'm JP, just one bid. And this, Joe Johnson, they've been in business a long time, they're in Rochester, and they're very good on service, and that's the most important part of these things. If you have any issues with them. The
That
other
would come out of
guys,
sewer?
pardon?
Sewer?
Yes.
Where we had
I could
sewer
probably,
this year, we had quite a bit of contingency.
I would take some maybe out of, because we're gonna use it for the storms also, so probably between the highway and the sewer side, mostly it'd be sewer, maybe 75-25 or something. Or whatever, you guys have an idea on that.
What do we have any numbers on what we paid Joe over the course of a year? We pay him a couple grand a year pretty much to do this.
A couple grand, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean.
A lot of times he helps us on different, clogs and things, but most of the time it's just camera.
And it's minimal. I mean, it's not like use them as much as we would if we probably had our
We
own,
don't use
right?
them hardly at all, other than maybe a lining job or something that he would do for us.
No, what I'm saying, we haven't used them a ton, but we still spend a couple $1,000
Easily, like probably more like $4 grand a year or something. I mean, I can go back and look.
I mean, we did have that contingency we set aside, and some of that the last budget that we looked at had camera in there.
That was a big camera. This
That's
is
a
just,
big one.
yeah, which that's down the road. That's a different issue. This is just a small one to do the small stuff that we do. If we get into where we need to start looking at all the lines, which we should eventually, then you need a bigger. That's 50, 60 grand for that. But you still need both. There's a lot of times you just want to look like in a 4-inch pipe or whatever. You can't get the big tractor in a 4-inch pipe. Where this you can.
For now, this is something that we get good use out of. And
We've always had one. It's just ours is shot. You can't get it fixed. It's been old for a couple of years now. It was 10 grand, and 10 grand was a lot of money. We kind of got by without it. We used Joe when we could. But you're right, Joe adds up and you get nothing for it at the end of the day. you know. Plus, you're on his schedule. He's not here right at the time.
And you get a problem.
Yeah.
You guys want to run that thing? I mean, it's
Oh, yeah,
pretty
simple.
self-explanatory.
So, shove her down. Take a look. Yeah. No, there's no. Pretty simple.
Looks like it goes in a USB stick.
You can, yeah, it's got all kinds of stuff on this display. You can do measure, record, and all kinds of stuff. Probably a lot more than we'd ever use, but that's just the way they all are today, the way they come. Technology the way it is today.
Okay. What else you got
And the last one
hidden in there?
is a big one. I never,
Big one.
yeah, it's the 325 excavator that we're renting. I never, when I started here, ever thought I would come to the board and ask you guys that we should purchase this, but it's $6,500 a month for a rent on one of these guys, okay? We've had this thing pretty much all summer now. FEMA's gonna pay for most of it because that's what we use it for, riprap. So we're gonna have probably 30 grand in this thing already, okay? Of rent paid, basically by FEMA. This machine, the 325, that size excavator is like, that's something Chris Ramsey, all those guys, it's very, very popular. So, you know, we have reserve money, or we could buy it. I don't really want to go that route and borrow the money from them. I would recommend doing that, but if we're gonna put money away for 1% or whatever we're getting, or what are we getting, I get 1/4%, I don't know what we're gonna get. Keep the thing for a couple of years, do what we have to do, because we have some big projects to do. So we're gonna be renting. So we're gonna have, I don't know, we've got, I just found out the bridge on Clay Street, or on Seward, that crosses Seward, that bridge has gotta go. Next year it's gonna have to go. We're gonna have to put a plate on it this year. You know, I've got.
One by Diane Montador's.
Yep, yeah, that's shot. Eddie went down in it today. And I still have some more riprap to do, that's not a lot. I got all the walls, like William Street wall, that's, you have to have a machine that size to do it. Now, I wanna take it up to the dump, there's a whole bunch, I could have it up there for 2 to 3 weeks to clean up everything I want. There's trees and crap up there, I need to get it cleaned out, so we have a place to put things, you know, topsoil, da-da-da-da-da. So, the water line up on the hill. So what I'm saying to you guys, we might lose, when we got all said and done, we might lose 30, 40 grand. I could even get a guarantee from Jack Lyons, if that big auctioneer, I mean, he would buy it in a heartbeat. Just for you guys to see that, I'm saying you keep it 2 or 3 years, you're not gonna lose much money. My excavator right now that I bought 10 years ago, I can get more money for it today than I paid for it. It's just because that's the way they are, those machines. You don't lose money with them. I'm just saying, we're crazy to spend that kind of rent.
What's the bottom line?
Bottom line is, it's on that paper.
Oh, there's another one in there?
Yeah, it's like the next one.
It's a big one.
It's hidden.
So.
Well, that's right on with all the rest.
It's stuck in between everything
Like
else.
198,000, right? That's the number.
And that's, you know,
249.
that's the machine that we have right now there's issues with it, not issues, but, you know, the track's dying, it's got a scratch. I told Judge that I don't want that machine. He said he would find a low-hour machine and do the same thing and apply all the rent that we've already paid. And that's the key. The rent we've already paid is probably, so we're gonna have the thing sitting around here for 2 or 3 years, other than we have to pay for it. But to me, it's like a reserve. Put insurance on it, it doesn't lose any money. We won't really lose any money.
Is there a need?
Well, got a lot of
Yeah,
projects to do.
No. Let
Oh.
me hear me out.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We sit on 2 of them now. One in which we got, which was a medium-sized one. We got the little mini, then you got the mini, little bit bigger mini.
They all have their place in the,
I know, but would this, or could this, take the
No.
place of one of them?
no, absolutely not. Like next week, you're gonna see the little mini will be over there digging on Adams Street, taking sidewalks out.
The little mini or the mini mini?
The mini will be over there, because it's got the thumb. The big mini will be out, there'll be 2 crews working next week in 2 different spots. Both machines will be going all week long, the little guys.
Then you have Gigundo Boy.
And, you know, and I never, you know, but after you start paying this kind of rent on these
How do we
machines-
move this around?
Trailer, you have to hire it and move. I usually get Chris to come by and, you know, we had this excavator last year of Chris's for a month and a half. It came and went. he never charges for it. So you guys never saw this kind of rent before. We lucked out. Chris was nice for the village, and he let us use it. But I mean, I can't ask him. You know, it's like this year. This one sets here. You know, like tonight, I was up there till this meeting, setting riprap and finishing up. You know, it's great if I can just get in it for a month and go do all my projects, but it doesn't work that way. You know, you got a wire line break, you got this, you got that. We can't sit in that machine all the time for a month and do all our projects and send it down the road. It just does not work that way here. And I can't devote that kind of time to a project. It just doesn't work. You know, we use it over there, you know, on Park Ave, that machine for, what were we over there for, 3 weeks, you know? almost
When
a
will
month.
you get going on clay when you're done with?
Well, blacktopping's priority right now. We get the blacktopping done, and then we can go down and do that. Or if I can get enough of everything done where I'm comfortable, then I'll send a crew over and do that. But, you know, the water line up on Main Street, that's, you know, if I can pull that off this fall, I'd like to get on, get some of that done. But that's a big machine to do that. So, something to think about. I'm not asking for, you know.
In 5 years, what do you think it resells at? Like if
I would get you those numbers.
You know,
I just threw it out here tonight,
Okay.
this is just talking tonight.
Right.
If you guys will, you know, enter it all, then I'll do more research.
If we're
I
spending-
can get a guarantee from Jack Lyons.
Like say we're spending 200 now.
200, you'll get probably, you know, I'm just saying you'll get at least 150 back.
That's what I'm saying, so you
At
spend
least.
50 grand,
Right, and you've had it
10
for,
grand a year,
right,
which is probably
a month's rent.
less
Well,
we're paying
2
in
months'
rent, you know?
I'm just saying, if you want to do these big projects like this, it's, to me, it's a no-brainer, but, you know, it's a lot of money.
No, I get it, because, but you're saving money, because if you had
Right.
If we had it,
Babcock's back in the day coming to do it, you're spending the money one way or the other. This just allows you the opportunity to do more jobs down the road.
Like you say, 3 months rent is 6,500 a month, it's 20 grand,
Yep.
you know?
It's gone, and that money's gone, you don't get it back.
It's just
You know,
like
What's the
rent
life
back.
expectancy on these? I mean, I
Oh
know that
my
they can be
God.
around for 30
You got
years.
1,000 hours you run on them, you know, it's like our dozer, I just got out of tonight, it's got 600 hours on it, you know? Well, it's the same thing with that dozer, you know? I was up today, ran it most of the day, you know, then it sits for 2 weeks. But it's there when I need it, you know, that's the problem, you know, that's what you guys don't understand, what I go through. It's hard to get it trucked in, get it rented, get it trucked in, okay, now it rains for a week or 2, there it's at, that's the problem you have, you know. Like I say, never dreamed I would.
How
come
would
to
you
this.
presume that we pay for it?
Well, I would use reserve money, but that's, you know, I know everybody wants, but to me, it's not, just don't, once the projects, big projects are done, you don't want, then we sell it. I would say don't, you know, set a time limit, don't keep it for more than 3 years. That way, we're guaranteed to get
In
most of our
3
money.
years, there's gonna be more projects around the
Well,
village.
then look at the option of getting rid of it, maybe updating it, or whatever. But, I mean, I can get a guarantee from Jack Lyons, because he's about the biggest guy in the United States that can just
Does
write
the-
you a check.
Does the town have one of these?
They got a wheeled machine, nothing like this. It's a
Is
drop.
a wheeled machine something that you could use? That means you can get it around easier?
They're big and,
I was just thinking about,
yeah,
for moving it around, would a wheeled machine be better?
well, you can't get a wheeled machine. This is what they call, just like our little guys are, basically, the house that you sit in will spin inside the tracks. So like I can pull right up next to a house and spin around, I don't hit the house, you don't have to worry about the big back end coming around, that's what those have on them. They're made for ditching on the roads, that's what those are for.
A wheeled machine cannot get as close to.
Yeah, like I couldn't do William Street project with it at all. You know, Clay Street Bridge, probably could pull that off with a wheel, but it's still
It
hard.
would still be tight.
Drive by any construction site, you'll never see a wheel machine sitting there. If you go by any construction site, you're gonna see that machine sitting at 325. That's like the most popular machine, I would say, that they sell, because it's one that everybody uses. They're big enough to do things with.
Is there anything smaller than that, but yet big enough to do your project, or is that the one? I mean,
Well, you
I
could-
mean, it's a 325, we've got the 305, is there a 315, a 320?
315 won't do it. I have a 315 that has all it can do to lift those wide. And we're lifting them, you know, we have to do it from one side of the track, so we have to lift them way over. That machine lifts the tracks up on it. You know, that's what they call the old 320. That's basically one size up from my machine. That's all it is. It's a big machine, there's no doubt about it. But, you know, go up to the plant, look what we just did with it up there. That was just a bonus of having it. getting that, you know, was eroding our road up there. But, you know, that was a mess up there. It looked like, Pete was up beforehand, he could tell us for it. You know, and in between doing other jobs, you have that machine and you just, all the fill we took out of these projects, we took it up there and buried it. Looks nice up there. You know, drive in now up there, it's gonna look, and I'll finish it on up through later. But, you know, there's another project for it, finishing the rest of the way up to the plant. You know, that's just been let go for so many years. I mean, there's trees in there like that. It's a mess. Up along that creek. But, I don't know, it's something to consider. I'm not
Your
saying.
thought, Mr. Mayor?
I'll look at some of the figures more.
It's nothing we have to decide tonight. We can decide like in October, because that's when we're gonna, it's either gonna go back
And
or it
lose your rent?
stays. Lose our rent. And it's, I'm not here, you know, I'm not gonna fight to death for it, but I just hate seeing that kind of money go. I look at it this way, we can almost own it for 2 or 3 years and basically FEMA pay for it, if you will. You know, that's how I look at it. You know, you have a machine that really didn't cost you anything. I don't know, I'll have to get what the insurance costs. I don't think it's a whole lot. We have insurance on it now. I think he said that was like $700 a year for the insurance. So you factor that in.
Yeah, I would say try to maybe give a kind of estimate of what you think you can sell it for when we're done.
Yeah, well, I will
So
get that.
way
one
we
down.
know,
Yeah,
you're not really spending 200,000, you're spending 40,000.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's,
You know, gotta see the numbers first.
You know, I mean, I can get a guarantee from him today, but that, you know, it's not.
Right.
I mean, I know that excavator, he'll write you a check tomorrow, the way it goes. Not that I'm saying we want to do that. Put it in an auction someplace and do it that way, that's the best way. But
Scott, could you rent that if we owned it? Could you rent it like
I don't know
the
how that would work,
surrounding
being a village
towns?
piece, like to the other towns, I
Yeah,
probably
that's what I
could.
mean, can you
Yeah,
rent it to
You'd
the
have to
other
have an
surrounding towns?
intermunicipal agreement
right.
to be doing that. You know,
So-
basically,
And then you're
Contract.
burning your hours up on it, and the hours are really what the end, and when they climb back into it, they look at that hour gauge, that's what they say how much it's worth.
And see, that's how we win, because we don't put it. You know, if that Chris Ramsey had that
Because you're not
machine,
running it all
in
the
5
time.
years, that's gonna have 5,000 hours on
Right.
it. You know, we might put 300 a year on it or whatever. So in 5 years, it's like a brand new machine to people.
Right.
You know, now the new ones for those are 350 grand, you know, so that's what they look at. That's why you get so much for them. So that's it for those.
That's it.
That's it. And no, I could not live without my 2 minis.
No, it was just a question. 'cause-
Absolutely could not. You know, last week we did 2 valves on out here. You know, both machines were going, just like the loaders. I wish I had 3, you know.
Seriously, great person. Look,
I'm not gonna ask for 3.
moving right along.
There's so many days that I could use 3.
you can have enough guys to run them.
Oh, yeah, I got enough guys around.
well, what else you got, Scott?
I think that's it. Hopefully I can come in October, and I'll spend most of my money. Maybe ask for a little bit more, see if you guys want to do a little more paving. We'll see how it goes. But that's what I'm hoping we can have everything done and we'll know exactly where we're at. Hopefully the weather holds out. They say it's supposed to be warm September, so that'll be good.
I know that we had discussed, and are you all done?
Yep.
And this is kind of part of the highway. And I know that we had batted around the sidewalk laws, and I know that Mr. Bondi wanted to come in next week. And did we ever come up with a definitive, this is how we want to move forward with this?
No.
Um,
No, I was waiting for ideas. I was running out of
Well,
ideas.
and this is where I think, I don't disagree with any of the comments that were said in the last meeting, in regards to, well, maybe it should be the village's responsibility, maybe it should be this, maybe it should be that. And I think that everyone has a very good ideas. And they can lay their claim and probably make a good claim for it. But I also believe that, the village been maintaining and trying to have lower, keep the tax base low, trying to do all that. So there is some responsibility of things like that do shift back to a homeowner. This all started, and we probably never would have gotten off skew as far as we would if it hadn't came down to the fact of village trees on village property uprooting some of the blocks. And I do believe that if one of our trees uproots a block, then we should be responsible for it. And I would stay with that. But I'm still not 100% against, homeowner responsibility of some of the sidewalk here. I think in it, there's just so many pieces to it as we talk about a lot of things, because we talk about removal of snow and ice is in the same law that has to do with who pays to put the sidewalk in. And of course, my take is just because someone lives on a main thoroughfare where the kids are going to be regularly walked, that person could be nitpicked for not shoveling the sidewalk, where if we go up in front of, let's say, Tammy's house, you'd have to go out and shovel your grass. So you should have to shovel your grass if I have to shovel my sidewalk. Although, I don't think that it's really right to tell somebody to go out front when there's no sidewalk.
That's not the intent of that. I don't think that's really how that reads, but we can argue that another
Well, that's
point.
how I read it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just my interpretation of it.
I think that's if your sidewalk goes up through that, and then it cuts off at the, like, say, your driveway. But, like I say, we can argue about that another time.
Yeah, but either way, I just wanted to revisit the fact that I'm not against 100% of the responsibility of a sidewalk being that of the owner, but if there's a village tree or something that obtrudes it. Because I think that until this really came up, everyone thought that everyone was responsible for their own sidewalk until it gets looked at, you know what I'm saying? So, I think you go back even years, and I know back when we lived on Pine Street, my mother replaced her sidewalk that went around the corner. She paid for that years ago, and some of it's on a state highway, and some of it's on a side street, because she lived on the corner just up from where Megan lives. So, I just wanted to voice my opinion that I'm not against the homeowner having some responsibility to it, but there's just so many parts of that
It is a rather long and convoluted.
convoluted is a
Yeah.
perfect word for that.
Yeah, there are a lot of aspects that have to be looked at. I have no problem with people taking issue with certain things, and I just think we need to get it on the table like we have,
Yep.
and move forward with it rather than.
Well, just with this being one of the department meetings, I just wanted to bring it
Yeah,
up, just so
that's fine.
it didn't fall on deaf ears for a month, and someone said, well, you haven't.
No, actually, I talked with the chief and with Scott, have them check into some other locales and see what they do. And maybe we can get around some of these issues.
And I agree with you, Dan. I think the homeowner should pay a little bit.
Yeah,
I really do.
yeah, I'm not against that. I didn't want to take it, but I also don't disagree with what the chief said. Whether so maybe it would be easiest to have the village do it, but you're not going to be able to take on a project like that without there being some sort of caveat with the tax rate, because it's going to take money. So
Yeah.
again, it's a double-edged sword. You
Money and help, you almost have to hire it done, because there's just no way we
Yeah.
can, we struggle now just to get done, what we do.
And that's exactly where we go at, we've been at the $12.99, it was reduced down when Mayor Dixon was here, went to from $13.49 to, it went down 50 cents a thousand, but
Yeah.
it went down.
Roughly
and
50.
And it's remained, and services have been cut. Well, at what point can a village still prosper with services being cut, when all along the sidewalks were thought to be that of the responsibility of the homeowner anyways?
Yeah.
So, just because we put a law out there, it was what everyone thought was the law to begin with, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
I'm not sure about that necessarily.
Well, and there may be other people, and I'm not trying to speak for everyone, but
But the sidewalk program has been going on for a long, long time.
Yeah.
since I was a kid, because I know that I
Yeah.
was a kid on a little BMX bike hitting the little dirt mounds that were out there alongside Clay Street.
Right.
So, I just, I didn't want to walk away from the last meeting without being able to say, hey, I
that's
just
fine.
think there's different things that can be done, and I don't know how we break this up to say, well, this is this, but I just don't think it would be fair to nail a person on a main thoroughfare for not shoveling a sidewalk when the guy on the side street's not going to shovel his. Because whatever's fair for one is fair for all. And that was how I always try to base a lot of my votes, is trying to remain fair for all.
Yeah, there's really it's really two separate issues. You got
It is.
cleaning, you know, I actually had this conversation with my mother the other night, you know, when we talk about the sidewalks, I think we have to drop maintenance. The word maintenance is too broad. Maintenance can be repairing and replacing, or maintenance can be scraping the ice off. And I think when we talk about this, we need to break down and say there's repair, there's extend, there's create on one side, either whether you're making it longer, making it new, or fixing a block. And then there's cleaning, which is a whole separate issue. And I think myself, I'm going to drop the word maintenance from my conversation when it comes to sidewalks. And cleaning the sidewalks is one issue. Fixing them, extending them is another. Yeah, is a whole other.
And I agree, and that's what I'm trying to say is.
Well, like I said, it says right here, and this is the state law, or code anyway. It says sidewalks, walkways, stairs, driveways, parking spaces, and similar areas shall be kept in proper state of repair and maintained free from hazardous conditions. That would cover everything right there.
And says that's for the responsibility of the property owner,
Yep.
not the community.
That can be conveyed onto,
The owner of the premises shall
Is
maintain
responsible for.
its structures and exterior property in compliance with these requirements, except as otherwise provided in this code.
so you're basically saying right now there's a state law. Because what,
Well, yes, but there's also a requirement by the state,
for you to pass your local.
pass your local law, and specifically designate who's responsible for what. In other words, if you want to shift the liability to the property owner, then that has to be in the law, which is what we did with this current proposal.
But I would still want to hold on to the fact that if anything that is village owned, such as trees and stuff,
Oh, absolutely.
then I would want that to be something.
Well, we talked about this the other day, I think. It was about, you know, if you have to take up a couple blocks, that's not really a big deal for us. We can cut
But
the
if we
route.
if we do that, are we now assuming the liability for that, every tree that's got the?
Well, that's probably where we need to run it by the attorney.
That would be my big concern with that. I don't have a problem going around fixing them, but
It's going to be a pain, but once we get them fixed, I think if a tree is uprooted, a tree comes out. Because that tree is going to uproot again,
well, you have to, I think you almost have to look at that though, Dan, there's so many
case
of
by
them.
case basis, yes.
Because we have no trees left. I have
We will
40
be a
to-
treeless
Yeah.
community.
I got signs I can put up. I got a beautiful sign in my front yard. Everybody was like,
In the
You know,
increase in
and that
cost,
airport one?
maybe I've mentioned this before.
I think I have heard it somewhere before.
the cost for that project changes from, you know, $150 in concrete to $150 in concrete and $1,000 for a tree. So to take it down, I mean, I'm guessing, I'm just got ballparking, a tree removal's got to be.
I guess I was talking with you about that, weren't we? Yeah.
So, you know, you say if you got 75 bad spots in town, 75 places where the trees pick the blocks, you take down 75 trees, you basically committed yourself to $75,000 worth of trees plus $7,500 in concrete. Concrete, no big deal. The trees, all of a sudden, is a huge ordeal because that's 8 years of Scott's tree removal budget. And that's if nothing else comes up to touch tree removal.
My tree removal buzz is gone already.
So, you know, well-intended process, but, you know, a huge expense, you know, not that anybody's gonna go out and fix 75 spots in 1 year, but still, you know, the tree is the tree.
Well, like I say, you know, you cut the root down if you have to.
Right.
The tree may or may not survive.
Right.
But you
You know,
go from there.
Exactly, you know, trying to save the tree wherever possible is, I think, important to town. I mean, I can remember talking to people a few years ago, sadly, probably 15 years ago now, I don't even know why the topic came up, but why would you want to live on this street versus this street? And it was interesting, the houses are nice on this street. So I said, well, tell me the color of the first 3 houses on the street. They couldn't tell me. Why can't you tell me the color of the houses on that particular street? Well, they're blocked by the tree. So is it the houses that are nice and that's really what attracts you to that street, or are you attracted to Sewer Street, because that's the street that kept coming up? Or are you attracted to Sewer Street because of the foliage? They're attracted to Sewer Street because of the trees. They'd rather live on Sewer Street, not even thinking the houses look nicer, but when it came down to it, they couldn't tell you the houses on Sewer Street compared to the other street we're using, because what they're really focused on is the trees is what they like. So people are attracted. Right
Wrap
between-
around porch, red apartment building,
Yeah, you're
front
right.
porch on the gray.
I can tell you, I can go down every street and tell you to call every house in order, but, that doesn't necessarily, it means I'm a sick son of a bitch.
Well, if we just recorded that.
Sorry, I just drive too much, apparently.
That'll pass, that'll be
That'll
okay.
pass. Sorry about that, so, yeah, so, the trees really attract people to the attractiveness of their street or other folks' street, and in the parks and things.
Yeah, I mean, so we go case by case basis.
Yeah. Anyway,
My
that gives
point
us-
is I don't know when to go, is that my point of that?
we'll keep moving along where we have been. We'll take a look at, try to take some of these things and reduce the impact as much as possible without incurring a lot of costs for the town or the village. Okay. Anything else?
I don't know, we're gonna,
Need a few more things to do?
sure, come on.
Just send that thing, but sidewalk in the sidewalk part.
Just the employees, I don't know what we're gonna do with that, if we vote on those guys for Tuesday night for filling those positions.
Well, let's, we can have a little discussion afterwards here on that one.
Okay.
Yep. We'll exactly discuss that.
Good.
Okay. Okay, let's see.
The only thing I forgot to is, they scheduled those property owners at 117 Main Street, 20 Liberty Street for a trial on their trash part of it. They came into court last week to deal with it, and the pile behind 117 Main Street, when I took the picture of it, you couldn't see the garbage dumpster and the pickup truck that was parked behind it, it was so big. So John made their attorney clear on the fact that it's worse than it was, and that part hasn't, even though they're working on the inspections, well, the litter garbage problem hasn't cured itself, it's gotten worse. Partly because they're trying to take care of the inspection part.
Taking
They-
the inspection
It's all right,
part,
everything in
15
the house is
people,
going out.
but
Yeah, everything in the house
It's a
is going
fixed
out to the
apartment.
parking lot, so, but they need to, they know they're scheduling these evictions, they can pull the dumpster in there and load them up, so. Right now it's scheduled for a trial, so there'll probably be, if things continue as is, there'll be a bill there somewhere along the line for John.
Yeah. That's the price of cracking down sometimes. Okay. Oh, let's see, Parks and Rec, we got anything on Parks and Rec? Seems to me there was something I wanted to talk about, but.
Got some boulders down at the park to start taking out some of the fencing, smaller ones, you'll see them down there piled up.
Oh, down at Babcock?
They take out
I know it's,
the poles.
I think Eddie got them all cleaned up, they need the poles.
yeah, there were two or, a couple of them down there were rotted or broken anyway.
Hopefully, he went down to remove all those,
Okay.
but we'll slowly start working rocks and.
Yeah, it looks nicer already over on the, where the softball field, we got a couple over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks nice. Looks a little more natural and it doesn't require the maintenance.
Those were a little bit bigger than I really wanted to use, we got some smaller ones this time, so a little bit smaller.
As long as nobody can haul them off.
Yeah,
Speaking of which, we know we discussed this last year as well, and it never went anywhere, but the parking down there, what's the name of the street there?
Wyman Lane.
Wyman Lane. Because there's no parking by the soccer field, so everyone has to park up. They park up by the field, which I think by the time they get done parking there, doesn't make it any better than it was down. But where you pull off to the right side along Babcock Park, there's some pretty big, I mean, I don't know if eventually sometime we just
Make
Clear
it so you
that
park
out.
right down through there.
clear that right out and put it.
That's a really good idea, I'd
Put
yeah, actually pave it. Really put some drainage in it.
millings and whatever right down through that side and at least widen it out, because if people do pull off there
Yeah.
for
Right.
football, this time of year, we just take soccer out of it. I mean, with the little kids football, they're-
Softball in the spring.
you know,
And it's
so
always a muddy mess down through there.
it's always a muddy mess.
Talking like in Babcock?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, because the parking right there is horrible
Right.
by the field.
Mhm.
I still don't, I mean, I think that there should still be parking on one side. You're still gonna be able to get, because once they park down at the other end, it's still just as cluttered as if they parked on one side behind the school. But that's for someone else to worry about, because, and I get that they don't want anything in the yards, and people are not always nice and they pull right over like it's theirs. So I get that, but, and then now it sends everyone down, and then now they gotta walk across the bridge. We're down there today watching the game, and diesel trucks hauling up and down through there, and it's a 30-mile-an-hour zone.
That bridge should be widened.
And people gotta walk from the one side back. Now, that's a school issue or whatever, but it's even also something because, you know, with the tragedy that happened last week in Geneseo, there's no running, the only place the school's gonna run is in Babcock Park, or on school property, or if they get bused to another park. You know, but even the kids running off of school property gotta go across that narrow little bridge. You know, it's just so that parking down there is an issue. It narrows it right down, funnels right into there, and, you know, last thing you want to see is someone get hurt, but.
Well, there's plenty of room there. I mean, especially if we took the fence down, put rocks in, we could widen that road out wide enough to have, they could park the whole road all the way down through there, you know, without any issue at all.
Whose fence is that? Our fence? The one that's by the school?
School put it in. Well, I don't know who put it in. Maybe you remember, Charlie. It's the same as Babcock Park, so maybe the village did at the time.
Which
I don't
fence
know.
we talking about?
Down like across the street from my brother's, there's a wooden fence down through there.
No, I was.
Oh, you
up-
mean the poles?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was up in Bath yesterday, and where their field sits, and they put some of those riprap, whatever, the big rocks, and they're moving away from, you know, doing poles, because once you set them things there, you basically weed around them and you move on. And maybe that would be something to eventually to look into, you know, setting some of them down through there and getting that out of there, and
Well, I mean, I could look at the width of our right of way there, but, you know,
I
I'm
suspect
not-
we must have put those in, because those were there before they did, you know, put the field in and everything.
I mean, that road could be widened enough so they could park on one side.
it would be nice, because it's a pain. And it'd also be nice, I mean, somehow widen that bridge next time we, you know.
That bridge wouldn't be hard to, that's just a sluice pipe in there, so you could lengthen that out.
And even if you could make, if we ever did it, if you made it bigger, that's a choke point in the village.
That's a good place to have a choke point down there, because once it gets to that point, you can go where it wants.
But they'll use that choke point to back up Babcock Park, which
I
backs
agree,
up,
I agree.
you know, I mean, the bigger them
Parking
sluices.
is messed down there though.
It's,
We're starting to park in Mark's field, they're
Yeah.
pulling him down into his driveway, so at some point he's gonna complain. You
See,
know,
the one in
it's
that
like
bridge,
you.
basically build it out of the same blocks we did up on Park Ave. They have bigger ones, so basically you just set a roll of those and then you put concrete right on top of them, bridge is done. It's a nice way to do it, but you need that big excavator to do that, Andy.
I knew he was gonna work that
yeah, you should be all set then with a mini. Better get that in quick. No, it's just things that we've hit on before, and they arise every year. And it's always in the fall that they arise, and then they go away, but you get it. And, you know, all due respect, there's another house that sits there now.
I would like to do your proposal on, because I look, every time I drive down there, I filled a lot of it in with gravel and things, you know, but it's a mess. It needs to be filled in and paved.
On the Babcock Park side.
On the, basically the widened lane side all the way down through.
Yeah.
So it's like a 3-width road right there. But I don't know how we feel now, you got people getting out with traffic, how do you feel about that, Chief? I mean, as long as it's wide enough, I guess it's no different getting out on Main Street.
Absolutely, look in your mirror and look over your shoulder before you walk your door.
Well, the other thing is like I said, there's people down there and there's traffic. I mean, I don't know how you slow them down on that without reducing the speed limit to 15, and I don't know how that even goes.
But the nice part, when they park, they're gonna be going that way, so the kids get out on the park side, parents get out on the street side, so that's a big plus, you know? So,
If the school could come up with some temporary signs they could put in the middle of the street or something down there with the curb, or the curb there, where it comes around off North Clinton, just to
could
tell
you
people
lower
to
the speed
slow
limit
down.
on that street? Would it help?
You can, but, you know,
Over long haul, I don't see this probably. If there's nobody there, they're gonna speed up.
right. It's like-
And a lot of times, they don't know there's anybody there until they gotten around the bend, so
It's like through the park, you know, speed's at 15 and, you know,
I don't think anybody's ever gone 15 in there.
we stop them, we do what we ticket them, at times we ticket them, at times we warn them, you know. I was down there, I walked the other night, and 2 came buzzing through there, and when they came to the stop sign, they stopped, so I had a conversation, I waited for them to come. You know, and I just waited for them, and I talked to them both, and they were very apologetic and understanding.
Kids?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just something more to be on the radar, but, I mean, it
Next
started,
year
you
is-
see it down there, and
I'm all for it, it needs to happen, it's,
Like I say, especially when football games start and everything else, it's
yep, busy.
busy down there. Absolutely.
July 1st it kicks off down there.
Yeah.
And, well, July 1st kicks off the fall, but there is a spring issue down there because there's softball going on.
Baseball on the other end.
We need to put all the projects on a list, and you guys gotta start putting them in the order you want them done, because I think that's what we're gonna have to do. You know, whatever has the most priority, that's what we'll get done. There's just so many projects to do, and, you know, it just can't all get done. It's like this sluice pipe that still sits down in the park.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, could you just move that over to widen the bridge on Widener?
That's not how you want to do it, though. I like the idea, if you're gonna do it, you do it right, widen it.
Yeah, that's a small sluice down there anyway, that needs to go, it's just a little 4-footer there.
Speaking of Babcock Park, we'll go to Parks and Rec, I guess. What is underneath that tarp Hoover keeps there by his?
It's dirty, it was just on the pictures, Mom, I just haven't come across it and tell him he's gotta get it out. I told him last year, and
Why doesn't he just out?
he did.
You did, didn't you go down there with the?
Well, once
we
before.
cleaned a lot of it up, yeah.
Yeah,
But that's what he has underneath there. It's
And then
that
there was a
expensive
hose,
dirt.
one day I went down and the hose was stretched out all along the sidewalk, there was nobody around. Usually the hose is a little bit behind that dirt pile.
But we
I don't know why, you know,
remove
you
it all
put a
again.
hot dog stand down there, maybe one needs to just put a storage shed down there.
Their storage shed is actually way down around by the scoreboard.
Yeah.
They do have a storage shed.
No, they do. Well, then
So
that's-
between the football and the home run fence, there's a shed in there, and that's over shed.
Yeah. I'm talking about more for the dirt. You know, if you want to put something there that looks a little better than just that old black tarp.
I agree.
It's there every year. Get them to clean it up and it shows right back up again.
We just gotta remove it. Easy. Easy, but.
Okay. Anything else for Scott? Move along to technology. A whole lot to say there. Megan right now is looking at a company, or companies, I guess. Got one company in mind right at the moment that would handle credit card acceptance online. And fees would be, you know, if somebody wants to do it, there would be fees for that, be paid by the customer, not the village. But it does offer an opportunity, at least that's the way we're looking at it now. I don't think anybody's going to do it for free. Codification, I think we might be seeing something, right, Megan, here next month?
Yep.
Probably a draft on what we've got up there so far. And I guess everybody happy with their next books?
Yeah, did we get the other things approved to order,
The covers?
The covers,
Yep.
we had ordered covers before, and they came in the wrong size, or model or something, so we sent them back, and now I'm having a hard time finding black covers that fit ours. They have
There's some
navy
pretty
blue.
ones.
My Pretty Pony, there's a couple of them.
I know Scott likes
My
pink.
Little Pony, not my
Exactly.
Pretty pony.
My Pretty.
And
You
I
don't play with them
don't
toys
know,
either, huh?
so I just keep checking, and I keep thinking, well, if I put it off a few more days, maybe they'll get more in stock.
Yeah, what was the sticker on yours?
My Little Pony.
Was that the one? No, I'm talking about the one Scott had.
That was on there.
Is it My Little Pony? I don't know, I had a picture until my phone died.
Yeah, pink one.
It was pink, I know that.
Did you get married?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, everything went well?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Any complaints, chief? Nope.
So do you guys want to go with like navy blue instead, and just get them ordered?
I don't think, color doesn't bother me as long as it isn't pink.
I agree.
I don't care what color
I was
it's
just
at.
looking, I just wanted something.
Blue,
uniform.
red.
Teal, whatever.
Okay.
Teal?
Seems to be a lot of that floating around now. Sea foam, you know, all that kind of stuff.
I just don't want to drop it.
Yeah.
As long as it's not pink and doesn't have sparkles, you guys are good, right?
I don't care if it's pink and sparkles.
Hello Kitty. Hello Kitty.
We'll operate that, okay.
It was Hello Kitty. It was not My Little Pony. It was Hello Kitty. I knew it was coming back to me. I'm like, it wasn't My Little Pony.
Well, you guys are looking at it, I wasn't.
I took a photo, but
Okay, I've been conversing with the website designer and everything, and he's working, we gave him the go-ahead on the homepage, and he's going ahead putting everything together now, so don't know what all that entails, but I'm sure we'll hear more. Let's see. I guess that's pretty much it for the time being. Any unfinished or new business we need to discuss tonight? We covered a lot last month, so this month ought to be relatively fast. Okay. Well, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session. Scott, you want to stay here for that because it involves the part about the applications. I got a move from, a motion from trustee Rittenhouse, a second from trustee Zay. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Votes unanimous. 3-0. Chief, you want to get together tomorrow afternoon sometime, or tomorrow, or you got something going on?
No, the only thing I have is, social services, is grabbing now for 2 o'clock,
Uh-huh.
but, so, and if they tell me an hour, it's always 2. So,
What, the morning? I don't care.
yeah, when I shoot for morning,
Sure.
name a time,
Went 10?
10, perfect.
Always seems like a good time.
That works.
Okay.
Yeah,
Everybody have a good evening. I don't anticipate any decisions being made tonight. So, let me take that.
Good night, guys.